Heartwarming revelation. After 10 years, husband discovers unexpected truth about his wife. James had always been the rock of their little town, a devoted mechanic and Iraq War veteran revered for his hard work. His calloused hands were testaments to years spent pouring love into his craft and his family. He was proud of Sarah, his beautiful wife, who lovingly nurtured their two little kids Mia and Ethan in their cozy home. Together, they embodied what everyone thought was the perfect American family. Yet, as James climbed the creaky attic stairs that ordinary afternoon, an unexpected twist awaited him. Dust enveloped him like the warm embrace of summer. He pushed aside the holiday decorations to a forgotten box, its corners frail from age. Curiosity sparked. He pried it open, revealing a hidden treasure trove of letters, yellowed with time. Each one, penned by Sarah, vibrated with dreams long buried. James's heart raced as he read her passion-laden words, unraveling an unspoken world of aspirations, her longing to be an artist. He couldn't believe it, his wife had once been a gifted talent on the cusp of an art scholarship, her future shimmering before her. As he dug deeper, his heart sank. Those dreams had shattered under the weight of loyalty. She had sacrificed it all to care for her ailing mother. A love so pure yet tangled in regret left him breathless. James felt crushed under the realization, wrestling with emotions that clashed like thunderclouds, betrayal and admiration entwined in a fierce battle. Did he even know the woman he married? Could their perfect life be built on a bed of unspoken truths? "Sarah, we have to talk." The words spilled from his lips, the air thick with tension. Moments later, vulnerability echoed in their small living room, feelings unfurling like tender petals reluctantly blooming in spring. Arguments turned to tears, each word a piercing arrow. Their once safe haven became a storm of raw emotions. Doubts pricked at his heart like thorns, and he was torn between pride for her selflessness and the fear that their love lacked the honesty it needed. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days passed, they found themselves at a crossroads. Could they reweave their lives to embrace her dreams while still supporting their family? Then came the town's love, rallying behind Sarah's art, reigniting the flame of her passion. Before him was a path forward, but would it uphold them, or tear them apart again? The townsfolk prepared for the exhibit, their excitement palpable. In the glow of love rekindling, James could feel the weight of their past still heavy in the air. Could they truly redefine their future amidst the shadows of yesterday? As the opening night approached, a storm brewed of doubt and hope, which would answer their unspoken question: would they emerge victorious, or would the treasures of the past linger too heavily and pull them apart? The day of the exhibit finally arrived, and the small town buzzed with energy. People filled the streets, their excitement as bright as the sun shining overhead. Banners fluttered in the breeze, proclaiming Sarah's name, each one a testament to the love and support that surrounded her. James stood at the edge of the gallery, watching as golden light spilled over the painted canvases, each piece a spirited echo of Sarah's heart. He wondered how she felt standing there, vulnerable yet thriving, under the weight of expectations and renewed dreams. As she welcomed people with that warm smile that first drew him in, he caught sight of the pride shining in her eyes. It was palpable, and yet he couldn't shake the unease tangled in his chest. The warmth of the room felt a bit too much a fire kindled by hope but threatening to burn with the intensity of doubt. Sarah deserved this moment, he thought. She had poured her soul into every stroke of paint, every line of color. But how could he step fully into the light with her when the shadows of their past still loomed, whispering doubts into his mind? James, a soft voice brought him back to the present. It was Mia, their daughter, her tiny hand tugging at his shirt. "Can we go look at Mommy's paintings? I want to see them." He knelt down to her level, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Of course, kiddo. Let us go find her." Together, they walked toward the gallery. A crowd swirled, laughter and chatter surrounding them like a comforting quilt. Yet, even within such a celebratory atmosphere, worry clung to James like a heavy coat. How many times had he missed seeing Sarah for who she truly was? As they reached the focal point of the exhibit, Mia squealed in delight. "Look, Dad, that one is my favorite." It was a vivid portrayal of a sunset, filled with rich oranges and deep blues that melted into one another. It reflected everything Sarah wanted to say, her voice from years gone by, a vibrant reminder that still resonated deep within. James held his breath as he watched Sarah speak to the group gathered around her. Her hands animatedly gestured, sharing the story behind each painting. An energy flowed from her, one he had forgotten existed, and it ignited something inside him. But one question loomed heavy. Was he ready to confront the truth of their past, standing alongside her as an equal? As he stepped closer, hoping to wrap her in an embrace, their eyes met across the room. In that heartbeat, the world around them faded, leaving just the two of them suspended in uncertainty. Could he muster the courage to tell her how he felt? Suddenly, the gallery door creaked open, and a figure hovered in the doorway, an unexpected visitor. The crowd hushed, curiosity sparking through the crowd. James felt a knot twist deep in his stomach as he recognized the person stepping inside. What would this intrusion bring to their already fragile evening? Would it shatter the fragile peace they had started to build, or could it somehow shift the very foundations of their lives once again? The figure stepped into the bright gallery, a shadow slipping through the glow of celebration. A murmur cascaded through the crowd, then silence fell like a thick curtain. James couldn't take his eyes off the stranger staring back at him. Jason, Sarah's college friend, the one whose departure had once fractured their relationship. Jason looked older, his easy charm softened by time and lines of regret. Sarah's gaze flickered toward the door, and her expression shifted from joy to confusion. She hadn't seen him in years. The pride in her eyes met with a mix of disbelief and something softer, a vestige of lost connections. James felt the warmth drain from the room, the colors around him dulling as anxiety gripped his chest anew. "Hey, Sarah." Jason's voice, rich with nostalgia, echoed through the quiet. "I heard about the exhibit and just had to see it for myself." His smile seemed genuine, but James couldn't shake the tension slowly building between them. "Jason." Sarah stepped forward, a mixture of surprise and uncertainty washing over her face. As she approached, James's heart raced. What kind of feelings were stirred up by this uninvited guest? Would old memories resurface, potentially leading Sarah down a path he wasn't prepared to follow? Mia clung to James' side, glancing up at her father, sensing the shift in energy. "Daddy, why does he look at Mommy like that?" she whispered, her innocent blue eyes filled with questions. "Let us just wait and see, okay, sweetie?" James replied softly, wishing he felt as calm as his words. The crowd seemed to hold its breath as Sarah and Jason exchanged words, the distance between them slowly closing until they stood just a few feet apart. "You haven't changed a bit," Jason remarked, as if the years had melted away. "Neither have you." A cautious smile returned to Sarah's face, but it didn't reach her eyes, and James could see a flicker of something vulnerable lurking beneath the surface. "Your paintings are incredible," Jason continued. "I'm proud of you." As the words washed over her, James's stomach churned. He had to step in. "Hey, Sarah." He took a few strides towards them, feeling the weight of Mia's curious gaze on his back. "Can I have a moment with you?" Surprise registered on Sarah's face, and Jason's smile faltered. "Of course," she replied, her voice steadying as she turned back to face him. They moved a few steps away, leaving Jason surrounded by a smattering of spectators, easily whispering speculations. "What was that all about?" James asked, trying to keep his voice low, but unable to mask the urgency in his tone. "I don't know," Sarah said softly, anxiety flickering in her eyes. It's been so long since I've seen him." Her vulnerability made James's heart ache. "But do you really want to dive into the past right now?" He hated the doubt in his voice, yet there it was, raw and real. Their gaze locked, a shared understanding passing between them. Before she could reply, Jason approached again, cutting through the moment like a knife. "I didn't mean to disrupt your night," he said with a friendly smile that felt almost too polished. "But I have something important to tell you. Sarah, I wouldn't have shown up without a reason." The tension coiled tighter, and James's breath quickened in anticipation. What secrets would this man spill, returning to a lifelong left behind? Could this night end with new revelations that could reshape everything he thought he knew? As the crowd leaned closer, waiting for Jason's words, James realized one thing. He had to protect Sarah's heart, no matter what it took. Would he stand tall and strong beside her when the storm broke, or would the shadows swallow him whole once more? The air crackled with unspoken fears as he prepared to face whatever truth lay ahead. The crowd descended into a hushed stillness, the anticipation palpable. Every eye was on Jason, who stood in the spotlight with an intensity that could have lit the room. James could feel the pulse of tension dance between them. He shifted on his feet, his instincts screaming that something bigger than a simple reunion was about to unfold. "Sarah," Jason began, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, "I need you to hear me out. I should have come to you sooner, but life got complicated." "Complicated?" James echoed silently, his composure beginning to crack. He sensed Mia tugging lightly at his shirt, feeling the disquiet simmering just below the surface. When Sarah inhaled sharply, he turned his attention back to her. The color drained from her face as Jason continued. "I was wrong to leave without saying why. I thought it was best for both of us." "Best for us?" Sarah's words were steady, but they held a tremor, betraying the doubts swirling in her mind. "You left. You vanished without a word." "Maybe so," Jason said quickly, "but you need to understand, there were reasons. Heavy reasons." The air felt charged as if lightning might strike from the heavens any moment. James stepped closer, weaving his presence protectively around Sarah. He didn't have a clue what Jason had to say, but he was done watching from the sidelines. "Sarah, we don't have to," she silenced him with a look. It was a warning, a reminder that this wasn't just about him. They were at a crossroads, and he needed to be her support, even if it stung. Jason took a tentative step forward. "Sarah, I came back because it was time. You're not the only one who has changed. I've had my own demons to battle, and I thought I could finally share them with you. I promised I would, long ago." "What do you mean?" Sarah's voice faltered, blending surprise with a hint of dread. He took a deep breath, as if gathering pieces of a past he had long tucked away. "After I left, I fell into some bad habits. I didn't want to drag you down with me, so I thought cutting ties was the answer. But it haunted me. I've been in and out of therapy, trying to make sense of it all. I wasn't the man you knew." James's heart raced. Was this the moment of reckoning, or merely a spiraling into darker recesses? Jason's confession was raw, filled with a pain that James recognized. The struggle to own up to one's past, and the difficulties to face them. "But why now?" Sarah shot back, hurt and anger bubbling through her. "Why not sooner?" "Because I didn't trust myself," Jason replied, his voice breaking slightly. "But now I'm better. And I truly believe I can be a friend again. I owe it to you to be honest." "Is that what this is about? Friendship?" James interjected, a potent mix of protectiveness and frustration clashing within him. "You show up after all these years, and suddenly you're here to be a friend while you append everything?" Mia squeezed his hand tightly, oblivious to the tension swirling around her. Her innocent gaze shifted between her parents and Jason, seeking clarity in the confusion. "Help me understand," Sarah pleaded, vulnerability seeping through her words. "What do you want from me, Jason?" Silence stretched as the weight of her question hung in the air like an unspoken challenge. The gallery, once filled with laughter and applause, now felt like a theater of emotional warfare. Jason hesitated, a fresh flicker of resolve lighting in his eyes. "I want to make amends for you, for us, for the future. I've kept my truth hidden for too long." Sarah, before he could finish, a sharp clang punctured the moment as a glass dropped on the floor nearby, the sound echoing through the gallery. Heads turned, and a collective gasp filled the room as they realized the fragile barrier of civility was about to shatter completely. What would Sarah choose, an unsteady path to the past, or a leap into the unknown with Jason weighing heavily beside her? Anxiety gripped James. Could he remain in control as the layers of their life unraveled? In that moment, the stakes felt higher than ever, and a fresh wave of determination surged through him. Somehow, he needed to navigate the storm and protect his family from the fallout, but could he? Would Sarah allow herself to turn away from the past, or was there still something there that could pull her back? As the crowd whispered and debated the unfolding drama, Jason's next words loomed, like a looming thunderhead on the horizon. The real question was, could they endure whatever storm was about to break? The murmurs in the gallery intensified, a whirlwind of speculation that danced around Jason's lingering words. Sarah's eyes shimmered with confusion and pain, grappling with the magnitude of his confession. Each moment clawed at her heart as the memories of laughter and love began to blur with betrayals and silence. Jason glanced around, seemingly grasping the unsettling energy that filled the room. "I know this is a lot to take in," he said, desperation washing over his voice. "But I'm willing to explain everything if you give me a chance." "Why should I?" Sarah snapped, her voice strong but edged with vulnerability. "You made your choice when you left." "I did," he agreed, an ember of regret flickering across his face. "But being away from you made me realize what I had. And I'm not asking you to forgive me, Sarah. Just let me share what happened." As James stood beside Sarah, he felt the tension tighten around them like a vice. Questions filled his mind, questions about Jason, about the past, and about what Sarah's heart truly wanted. He glanced at Mia, who was still holding his hand, her little fingers warm and steady against his. Her innocence made the scene even more poignant. In that moment, James knew he had to fight tooth and nail to protect them both. "How can we trust anything you say?" James challenged, stepping forward to shield Sarah from Jason's penetrating gaze. "You vanished without a word." Jason ran a hand through his hair, frustration seeping through his facade. "You don't have to trust me," he retorted, resolute. "But I owe Sarah this. I want to shove my way back into your life. I just want her to see the truth." "You think you can just waltz back in and make everything right?" James pressed, struggling to mask the hurt and anger that simmered under the surface. "What about all the pain you caused?" "Pain I would take back in a heartbeat," Jason admitted, his voice shaking. "I thought I was protecting her, but all I did was hurt her more." Sarah gasped softly, her expression torn between frustration and understanding. "What happened, Jason? Just tell me." Taking a deep breath, Jason shifted on his feet, wrestling with the weight of his decisions. "After I left, it was as if everything fell apart. I went deeper into my struggles, substance abuse, isolation. I lost myself. I didn't want to infect you with my chaos. But I soon realized that being silent and absent, which I thought was protection, was the thing that broke us." Silence hung thick as he spoke. James watched Sarah's face transform as she processed his words. The initial resolve faded, replaced by glimpses of empathy. "And then?" she urged, her voice softening. "What changed?" "I started truly fighting for my life. Therapy, sobriety, learning to own my mistakes," Jason explained, his tone shifting from desperate to earnest, feeling the need to connect again. "I realized the only way to heal was to face my past, to reach out before it consumed me whole." "Is that what you've done?" Sarah asked, her heart wavering as she stared deep into Jason's eyes. "Not yet, but I'm here to try," Jason said, vulnerability cracking through the bravado he had worn for so long. "I'm trying to reach out to you because I still care. I never stopped loving you." Sarah, tears pooled in Sarah's eyes as doubt and hope intertwined. The grief of lost years weighed heavy in the air, but so did fragments of the love they once shared. In that moment, with Jason's plea hovering between them, James felt a knot form in his chest. Was it possible for her to forgive? To leap toward Jason and leave him behind? Just then, Mia tugged at James's shirt again, her small voice cutting through the tension. "Daddy, why is Uncle Jason sad? Can we help him?" Mia's innocent questions spiraled through the air, reminding everyone of their shared humanity, the fragility of relationships, and the possibility of redemption. The room seemed to breathe as the crowd watched, hearts collectively aching at the sight of a child yearning for connection. Before Sarah could respond, the door to the gallery swung open with a creak, instantly shifting the atmosphere as a wave of murmurs swelled. Heads turned to see a familiar face standing at the entrance, looking out of breath and wide-eyed. "Am I too late?" the newcomer whispered, anxiety threading through their voice. The gathered crowd fell into a shocked silence. What had this person come to reveal, and how would it unravel the fragile web Jason had just begun to weave? The crowd shifted as everyone turned to the unexpected arrival. Sarah's heart raced. She recognized the voice, but the figure was still blurry in her mind. As the woman stepped further into the gallery, the name echoed in her thoughts. "Amy, why are you here?" Sarah asked, bewildered, her voice barely above a whisper. The emotions swirling inside her felt insurmountable, layering confusion upon disappointment. "I came as soon as I heard what happened," Amy replied, her chest rising and falling rapidly. I didn't expect to find you all like this. I have to tell you something. It's about Jason and about the time he was away." Jason stood frozen, his face draining of color. The weight of Amy's arrival pressed down on him like a suffocating blanket. He swallowed hard, trying to find his voice. "No, Amy. Not now. Please, not like this." But Amy pressed on, her expression earnest, almost desperate. "You all need to hear this. It's important." She took a collective breath and steadied herself. The reason Jason left wasn't just because of his struggles. There was something else. Something he never told you. James instinctively moved closer to Sarah, sensing her unraveling. "What are you talking about?" he demanded, his protective instincts roaring. "You can't just drop a bomb like that without explanation." I know, Amy stammered, wringing her hands nervously. "But it's true. He thought he believed I was the cause. That I put pressure on him to change in a way he wasn't ready for. I never wanted him to feel that way." Jason stepped forward, trying to regain control of the situation. "Amy, stop. This is not the time." The crowd was palpable with curiosity and tension. Their breaths held in suspense, waiting for the truth to unfold. "Amy," Sarah said, her voice shaking, "what do you mean? What did you really think was happening?" "I was too late in saying this," Amy confessed, tears brimming in her eyes. "I saw Jason struggling, but I didn't know how deep it ran. I was afraid and backed away. But I never wanted him to leave you. I thought he needed space to figure himself out. I had no idea it would destroy both of you." Jason looked at Sarah, his heart shattering as he saw her reaction. He wanted to reach out, to pull her into his arms and shield her from the storm brewing before them, but he felt trapped in a whirlpool of regret and helplessness. Could he ever explain how sorry he was for all of it? Sarah's thoughts raced, trying to piece together the fragments of the lives they had lived since he left. The long nights, the silence, the void he had left behind. But what changed? If this was true all along, why didn't you tell me before? Amy met her gaze, emotions swimming in her deep blue eyes. "I was terrified of the truth, Sarah. I feared what would happen if I admitted my own mistakes. I saw him lose control slowly, and I thought pushing him to confront it would only make things worse." Despair washed over Sarah like a wave, so much grief condensed into those words. "But you let him think," she started, her voice trembling, "that he was alone in this." Jason looked at Amy, realizing that for all this time, they had both been running from a truth that could have saved them. "Nobody was truly alone," Amy whispered, her voice barely audible. "We're all lost, Sarah. I just didn't know how to find my way back. But we can fix this. We can try." Suddenly, a blast of emotion surged through the gallery, filling the air with impatience and longing. Every heart present pounded with both hope and despair, teetering on the edge of a precipice. Mia, unbothered by the tension, spoke up again. "Can we be a family again? I want us all to smile." The room fell silent, each person absorbing the innocence in her request. But Sarah's heart felt a twist of fear. Could they really return to a time when they were whole? Just as Jason's eyes locked with Sarah's, a voice from the back piped up, shattering the silence. What if you had the chance to make it right? The air seemed to thicken with anticipation, urging everyone to take action. Could they really navigate through this tangled mess of love, betrayal, and pain to find a way back to each other? The air crackled as if the room itself held its breath, suspended in a moment that felt both fleeting and eternal. Jason's heart hammered in his chest, the weight of Amy's words building a suffocating knot in his throat. Sarah's gaze shifted between Jason and Amy, confusion sizzling like a short circuit in her mind. What do you mean, a chance to make it right? Sarah's voice was edged with disbelief. The weight of the past felt heavy, a tangled web that seemed impossible to untangle. I mean, the voice that had spoken earlier echoed again, softer and more deliberate this time. Maybe we can start over. What's broken doesn't have to stay broken if we're willing to face it. Everyone turned to see Mark, an old family friend whose eyes glimmered with determination. We've all been in a kind of limbo since Jason left. All these unsaid things, the doubts. They've kept you apart. But facing what's true together, that's how you rebuild. Amy nodded, wiping away tears. What if we each shared our side? What we felt, what we thought in that time. James stayed close to Sarah, still protective, but urged her on with a gentle squeeze of her hand. You don't have to do this alone. We're all here, you don't have to bear it. Jason's breath hitched as he glanced at Sarah. The flicker in her eyes was both fierce and vulnerable. But it hurts, doesn't it? All of it. Can we really reopen old wounds and hope for healing? We have to try, Mark urged, his voice a steady anchor in the chaos. It's either that or stay stuck, and we've all suffered long enough. The gallery felt smaller now, the walls closing in as raw emotions began to swirl unfettered. Sarah took a deep breath, the air thick with memories and heartache. I spent so many nights waiting for Jason to come home. I would just stare at the clock, counting every hour, every minute. I wondered where he was, if he was thinking of me. Did you think about me, Jason? Or was I lost to you, tangled in what we had? Her voice cracked, the vulnerability crashing against her normally composed facade. Jason felt himself teetering on the edge of despair. I thought of you every second, Sarah. But I didn't think I could be the person you wanted. I was broken. He swallowed hard, and his eyes glistened as he searched her face for understanding. I left because I thought you'd be better without me. Tears spilled down Sarah's cheeks, mingling with a realization that began to shift like tectonic plates inside her. You didn't leave me. We let each other go. Amy stepped closer, interjecting softly, and what if we don't have to carry this alone anymore? We can help each other. Maybe if we share our truths, piece by piece, we might just start to heal. Mia, still grasping the undertones of adult pain swirling around her, chimed in once more with a childlike innocence. But aren't we allowed to be happy? I want cupcakes and smiles again. Can we have that? A strained laugh broke the tension, and for a brief moment, a glimmer of hope shone amidst the despair. Jason's heart felt lighter at Mia's words, yet a burden still hung over them all. Together? He whispered into the silence, his eyes pleading with Sarah. Together, she echoed softly, unsure but willing to find a pathway forward. The weight of the past still lingered, yet there was a dawning possibility of change, however fragile. Just as they seemed to step toward healing, a loud crash echoed through the gallery, drawing everyone's attention. The door swung open forcefully, and another unexpected visitor stepped in, a shadow of the past they thought they understood too well. What is going on here? The voice was familiar, but heavy with tension. Each face turned to see who would break this moment of fragile connection next. Did they truly have the strength to face more truths, or could old wounds reopen just when they thought they started to heal? The room felt like it was holding its breath again. Jason squinted and the familiar figure stepped into view. It was Rachel, Jason's ex. The years had done little to diminish her sharp presence, her eyes still as piercing as he remembered. The tension in the air thickened, almost unbearable. What are you doing here, Rachel? Jason's voice was a whisper, hardened by disbelief and the pent-up emotions of the past. Everyone else remained still, their expressions a mix of confusion and concern. Do we really need to do this right now? Rachel cut through the haze, her voice firm. I saw everyone crowded together and felt like I should check in. Frankly, it seems like a lot to unpack. She glanced around, taking in the tear-stained faces, the palpable emotion clouding the room. I think we were just getting to some important things. Mark intervened, his tone attempting to diffuse the tension with a hint of authority. But Rachel wasn't backing down. The fire in her eyes flickered with a mix of defiance and vulnerability. Yeah, well, some things can't just be left in the past, can they, Jason? Jason felt a cold shiver travel down his spine. It was true. The things he thought were behind him were resurfacing like shadows. The past could be like quicksand. One wrong step, and everything could pull you under. Look, Rachel, I don't know what you think your Jason started, but the words caught in his throat. Sarah stepped forward, a silent act of support that made Jason feel braver. You don't have to drag this up right now. We were trying to come together if that matters at all. Rachel's expression softened just a fraction, and she looked at Sarah with a hint of respect. Maybe it does, but it's always messy, isn't it? Relationships, emotions I mean, do any of us actually know what's real? How can we trust that this one just turn into another cycle of hurt? Mia shifted at the edge of the big emotional tangle, looking between the faces, her innocence somehow grounding the tension. Can't we just talk about cupcakes then? Those always make me happy. A nervous laughter broke through the heaviness, but it quickly turned into an awkward silence as the adults struggled to navigate their complex feelings. It was Jason who had to shine a light through the fog. Rachel, you came here for a reason. Just tell us what it is, please. His voice trembled, filled with an urgency that threatened to spill over, blending both anxiety and hope at the same time. Rachel's gaze flicked over each face in the room, landing finally on Jason. Fine. Maybe it's time to put everything out there. I recently learned some things about why you left and who you are now. Her voice lowered, carrying an undercurrent of anger mixed with concern. The unspoken words felt heavy between them. Jason's heart began to race. What could she possibly know that altered their past? Was there more to this fracture that he hadn't even understood himself? Let us not go down this road, Sarah urged, but desperation hung in her voice. Too late, Rachel replied, her own vulnerability more evident now. Are you ready to face the truth, Jason? Because it could change everything. The air hung thick around them, charged with possibilities. Jason felt a swell of fear mixed with a flicker of hope. What was next? Revelations, healing, or more collisions of shattered dreams. Each face in the room shifted with the weight of what was about to unfold. As secrets hung like a thick fog, Jason felt himself teetering on the brink again, but with a sharper edge this time. Did they dare to venture into the unknown, or would this be yet another cycle of hurt that left them further fractured than before? Rachel took a deep breath, steadying herself, and Jason noticed how she clenched her fists at her sides. The room was a still life of anticipation. Everyone was hanging on her every word. He could feel Sarah's worried gaze beside him, pushing him to brace for impact. What I discovered, Rachel began, hesitating, the words curling in her throat. It's about your father. Her voice dropped lower, and Jason's heart sank. The mention of his father was loaded, filled with complications, love, betrayal. There are things you never knew, things that could change how you view everything. Jason's throat tightened. He felt the walls of his past closing in, memories tumbling like autumn leaves in a gust of wind. What do you mean? What could you possibly know? His voice shook slightly, frustration branching into fear. I found out he wasn't the man you thought he was. Or at least, not entirely. Rachel's eyes softened, and there was an unwilling sadness there. You deserve to know why he left, why you're here, struggling to connect with any part of yourself. Murmurs erupted from the others. Mark looked perplexed, Sarah stared aghast, and Mia's innocent face twisted into a frown. What does that mean? Mia asked, her childlike clarity slicing through the tension. Jason felt his heart pounding like a drum, each beat echoing loudly in the silence. What are you saying? Just get to it, he urged, impatience flaring as the clouds of confusion gathered. Rachel pulled a slip of paper from her pocket, crumpled and faded. I found this in an old box. It's a letter addressed to you, or it was supposed to be. She handed it over, her fingers brushing against his, a fleeting connection charged with unspoken history. Jason opened the letter, his hands trembling as he focused on the faded ink. Words danced before his eyes, but only fragments registered. "I'm sorry, you'll understand one day." Decisions. His breath quickened as he scanned the page, his memory spinning out of control. "Rachel, this doesn't make any sense. What happened to my dad? Why would he leave something like this?" The urgency in his voice was palpable, and everyone felt the weight of his confusion. "The truth is messy, Jason. Sometimes we bury our pains so deep we can't see the roots. Your father loved you, but there were things he couldn't reconcile, things that drove him away. I came to talk about healing yours with him, but it's deeper than that." Jason felt the walls start to crack, emotions threatening to flood through the gaps. His father's absence had been a heavy shroud for so long, a void he had learned to ignore. But this was an opening, a chance to understand, to heal, to finally look at those roots Rachel spoke of. "I don't even know what to believe anymore," Jason confessed, his voice trembling. "How can I trust what you're saying? What if it's just more heartache?" "It's a risk I'm willing to take, because what we've been going through is heavier than just our past," Rachel replied softly, her frustration slowly melding into compassion. There was palpable silence as the rest of the group digested what Rachel had uncovered. The emotional tension ebbed and flowed like a tide, rising and falling, as Jason felt all the years of confusion and hurt colliding with this new revelation, and as he looked around the room, he realized that every single one of them had been navigating their own pain, their own hidden truths. Jason's heart ached for their shared struggles. "Are you ready to confront it, Jason?" Rachel asked, her eyes unwavering, a challenge but also an invitation. Could he dig deep enough to face the truth, the whole truth? Could this be the moment that finally leads him out from the shadows? As he scanned the faces of those around him, he felt a flicker of courage stirring inside. But then a chilling thought raced through him. What if he wasn't ready? Could he risk unraveling everything he thought he knew? The question hung in the air, pregnant with possibility, ready to explode. Would they rise together, or would they be lost further in the cycle of hurt? The tension in the gallery thickened as Jason faced Rachel, the weight of every unspoken word pulling at his chest. He glanced at Sarah standing beside him, her expression a mix of resignation and determination. The stakes felt impossibly high, and the group was suspended at the edge of an emotional abyss. "Are we really doing this?" he whispered to Sarah, the pain of uncertainty etched deep in his brow. She met his gaze, her eyes shimmering with unvoiced hope. "We have to try, Jason. We can't let the past rule us anymore. Not when we've fought so hard to get this far." A vibration of agreement rippled through the small crowd, and even little Mia shuffled closer, gripping her father's hand tightly as if she could anchor them all in this moment of vulnerability. "Mommy, are we going to be happy?" she asked softly, innocence piercing the heaviness. Jason's heart swelled, torn between wanting to shield Mia from the storm and the need for openness in their lives. "Yes, sweetheart. But sometimes we have to wade through the hard stuff to get there," he replied, his voice steadier than he felt. Turning back to Rachel, he nodded, ready to face the truths that lay burrowed beneath layers of hurt and misunderstanding. "Fine. Tell me what you know about my dad. I need to understand." Rachel took a deep breath and stepped into the spotlight of shared pain. "Your father was battling demons you never knew about. His struggles weren't just his own. They impacted every part of his life, including his love for you. The truth is, he felt trapped by expectations, haunted by a shadow he couldn't escape." She paused, gauging the room's reaction, her resolved look meeting their anxious gazes. As the weight of her words sank in, Jason felt the ground shake beneath him. Trapped? By what? He could hardly keep the fury out of his voice, but beneath it was a rising flame of understanding. Rachel's admission opened a door he had barely dared to knock on. She stepped closer, lowering her voice as if sharing a secret between them. He was caring for a family member too, someone crucial to him, and he felt he let you down by not being there for you. When he left, it wasn't about abandoning you, it was about trying to find a way to be better, for you, for all of us. The room fell silent, the weight of this shared story wrapping around them like an embrace. Every breath felt heavy with the lingering past, but with it, they began to see a horizon, a flicker of hope in the distance. Jason's knees felt weak, the revelation bittersweet, a balm on wounds he didn't know he still carried. But why didn't he tell me? The hurt seeped into his voice, pulling at the threads of their connection. Why wouldn't he let me help him? Rachel's eyes softened. Because sometimes sharing that burden takes courage that can feel overwhelming. He thought hiding the pain was the right choice to protect you. Jason turned to Sarah, her face a canvas of empathy, tears glimmering like morning dew. Can we really forgive him, Sarah? Can we start anew? He asked, his voice tremulous. We have to lean on each other, she breathed, her smile radiant amid the uncertainty. As the corners of her mouth turned upward, a ripple of encouragement passed through the group. This is our moment. Our choice to face it together. Together, Mia echoed, her bright voice cutting through the haze. And with that one word, a shift occurred like the clouds of doubt clearing away to lead in the sun. Can we try? Jason asked Rachel, his voice steady, hope washing over him. They all stood at a critical junction, open to change. Can we own this? Rachel nodded, her own resolve hardening. Yes, but we cannot shy away from the messiness. It might get uncomfortable, but that's where healing begins. I'll be right here with you, Sarah promised, tying her hand with Jason's, grounding him in this moment of shared vulnerability. He felt a surge of steadfastness swell within, every heart in that gallery beat as one, emotions intertwining and fortifying each other. A newfound connection formed amongst the group, layering their individual pains into a collective strength. They lifted each other, standing side by side against the chaos of the past. In that space, Jason felt the remnants of years of heartache shatter as he opened himself to the truth. Pain could lead to healing, and forgiveness was the first step toward reclaiming joy. He turned to Rachel. Let us face this together, one truth at a time. As the gallery buzzed back to life, colors brightened, and laughter erupted, igniting warmth in their hearts. Each piece of art became a symbol of hope, of dreams intertwined, of the family they could build anew, and in that moment, they became a family once more whole, resilient, and free to embrace their shared journey ahead. The shadows of the past loosened their grip, leaving room for new beginnings, with determination in their hearts and renewed purpose glowing fiercely in their eyes. They stepped forward, ready to weave their stories into a brighter future. Together. Now, if you felt that powerful moment, you need to subscribe right now to our channel, so you don't miss out on exclusive stories that will fill your heart. This is the moment to show your support by hitting that like button. You have no idea how much it helps. Share your thoughts and feelings about this emotional ending in the comments below. And remember, don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support means everything.